Lingo Limbo. Do you know what it's like to live in a country where many do not speak the local language? Find out. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Culture Connection Conversations, where we bring you relatable stories of diversity.
Hi, I'm Filomena, based in the Netherlands.
And I'm Claudia from Luxembourg.
I'm a trainer and I work with both teams and individuals to improve productivity and work happiness.
And I'm a coach helping professionals, entrepreneurs, corporate leaders, as well as their teams uncover the root of problems and figure out solutions so that they can thrive.
So you call us when, as a leader or entrepreneur, results are going down, you're struggling, or there's friction.
Let's get started.
So, Claudia, today's title is Lingo Limbo. Please tell me what's the story about?
Well, thank you, Philomene. So I do live in Luxembourg, and Luxembourg is kind of really a melting pot of all different cultures. There's a lot of expats living here. But what I want to touch on today is the experience that you have, maybe even just when you go to a store or a cafe, an everyday occurrence. So every day, over 200,000 people cross the German, Belgian, or French border to come into the country. And granted, not all of them work in service industries. A lot of them are, professionals working in corporate settings. But it is a very, very common occurrence today, as it has been for decades now, that you go into a store and even though Luxembourgish is the official language, the person behind the counter, for instance, at a cafe, or the server at a restaurant, is not going to speak Luxembourgish, even though they do work here. And so you might not know, is this person, is Luxembourgish okay? Does it need to be French? Does it need to be German? Does it need to be English? I mean, really, there's always this moment when you do not know. And frankly, sometimes it can be frustrating. For instance, imagine you go into a home improvement store and you know what you're after, you know the word in your native language of what you're looking for, but then you're confronted with somebody who doesn't speak your language. And even though most or a lot of people here, for instance, speak fluent French, which I do, nevertheless, like this very specific tool or this very specific widget that you're looking for, you might not at all know that jargony type word in French. And so it can be frustrating. I have been on occasion really frustrated when it came to something like that. On the other hand,
Well,
I think
I can imagine, Claudia. Yes, of course.
that is what it can be like in a country where the native language, which in this case is Luxembourgish, is rather uncommon very often, right?
So,
Yeah.
how do you approach this?
Well, I approach this that you have to understand. I mean, these people come to work to provide jobs that maybe not many Luxembourgish people might want to do, or there's just not enough Luxembourgish people to go around to do this kind of job. So in a certain sense, I'm very thankful for the service that they provide and that they come across the border through terrible traffic, mind you, in order to do the work. So you have to put it in context. I really believe so. On the other hand, I must admit that I know that if I were to move to a country where I do not speak the language, I would probably make a little bit of an effort to at least get to a conversational level of the of the language. Like if I were a server at a cafe, I would probably at least learn enough Luxembourgish to take an order and to say hi and to say thank you and things like that. So sometimes, however, the attitude is that I am not going to learn this language at all. So there's no effort made, and I think more than people not speaking the language is that they don't even try. That I think is what sometimes gets frustrating to
Yeah,
me.
that is your sentiment. Well, we
Do you
do have. Go ahead.
do you have a similar situation in the Netherlands? You're not that far from here.
To a certain extent, yes. I think it's recent, right? Dependent on the region you're in. For example, in the south, when you're in certain cities or villages, when you sit down on a terrace or in a restaurant or even a shop, the language you are approached with is German. On the other hand, when you're in Amsterdam, 9 times out of 10, you're approached in English. And there's a different region in the south, which is more recent, where there are, I think, 60 to 7% of, percentage of inhabitants are expats. So again, the language is English. When you walk down the street, all you hear is English. And I do feel that opinions vary on this. I think it's very much cultural related and also, in that respect, age related. I do hear a lot that say people that are, say, over 45, not generalizing, but in general over 45, don't like it. They prefer the Dutch language. Whereas the younger generation doesn't really mind, right? In addition, it's also because of lack of employees at the moment, because we are, there's a shortage of hands. So whomever is available has the job. So sometimes they are new into the Netherlands and they just don't speak the language yet. And sometimes they also say that, I think this is, especially for the Netherlands, the case that the Dutch speak English. So why should I bother speaking Dutch? There's a variation of opinions, but I have to say it's everyday life, right? It's what we have to deal with. And we have to figure out a way. Well, for me personally, I chose whenever I'm in Amsterdam or in that specific region in the south, I speak Dutch. And when I notice that somebody, like for example, the waiter, does not speak Dutch, I switch to the language that is applicable. And I'm fine with that because I decided, I'm not only Dutch, I'm a European, right? So uh, for me, in this choice, it implies having to speak different languages. I'm fine with that, right? We don't have closed borders. So it's okay. But if you choose to be European, you choose to speak different languages. So I don't think it's an issue, not to me personally. Do agree that with you that it's a good idea for, say, in this case, the waiter to learn some Dutch words just to make people feel more comfortable. Because
Mhm.
we do have people in the Netherlands that feel uncomfortable speaking either German or English. So right, you have to meet in the middle, so to say.
And then let's not forget, my father, for instance, an older generation, he does not speak English. I mean, he never learned it.
Yep.
So,
Then
I think sometimes it's really a challenge. Here in Luxembourg, the professional language by far is English. There's whole companies that just run on English. It's kind of the common language that people from all these kind of places, whether they have really immigrated here from anywhere in the world or from the EU, and also the frontalier, the border people that come into Luxembourg from their respective countries
sure.
every day. So Luxembourgish by far is the thing. And I'm not saying that when I'm in any kind of situation with any of the local languages, if you want to talk like that, which in my case is Luxembourgish, German, French, and English, that I would not graciously speak in them, right? I mean, don't make an issue of it. But sometimes there's this little itty bitty, knot forming that it's like, oh, it would really be nice when you go for a nice time. Let's say along the Mosella, you sit at it on a terrace, that it would be nice if your waiter at least knew your language. But, you
Yeah,
know,
true.
it's definitely not a big deal. But that is a reality that maybe some people listening to this show cannot that easily relate to, because maybe they are in the US where everybody speaks English, or in other maybe potentially larger or more populated countries. So that's kind of what my experience with culture is, that I wanted to share with you today.
Thank you for sharing, Claudia. And I think we would love to hear the experiences of our listeners, wouldn't we?
Yes, absolutely. So, have you experienced something similar? How do you understand the situation? How do you react? Let us know. Let us know in the comments.
Thank you all for listening.
Yes, thank you. So that's it for today, folks. Thank you so much for coming and listening in. If you like what you hear, please do send us some love by subscribing to the channel, or clicking like, or otherwise engaging with our content. And we will most definitely be back for more very soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.